Hello and welcome. When we look for homes around the country, we start with the price range of $1.5 to $2 million, and from there we kind of look at the state and see what kind of inventory they have. For North Carolina, we found the following. You know, that's a lot of houses. That is a lot of houses. So, what could we do? I know, beach party. All of these houses will be steps away from the beach. They're either on the beach or they're just a walk from the beach. So it requires no driving or anything like that. So these are 10 homes in North Carolina that are on the beach. And here we go. So this is the overall inventory. Our first one looks like this. And it is all the way up here in the northern part of Carolina. So what I quickly found is that they have this area, this thin little line over here that's the Outer Banks. And you kind of got to decide really quick, do you want a house in privacy, away from people, or do you want it kind of near people? This one is especially way away from people, and that kind of put it down a little bit. It had 6 bedrooms. A lot of these, and they indicate it in the description, are rented out. And that's fine. And this had a pretty good interior. It was a blue, smallish kitchen. Wasn't very big, but I like the open air of the inside of it. And it had good access to the beach and enough distance for privacy, but still easy to get to. But it only had a hot tub. A lot of these will have a pool too, and you could say, why do you need a pool when you have the ocean? Well, people may not like swimming in the ocean, or you may have little kids, you may be worried about rip current or whatever, so there's different reasons. Or it could be something you just do at night. And this also had a pool table and an arcade game. Next up, so this one is located also up there, and it was just kind of far away from stuff. There's not a lot around, so kind of the problem is you better love the beach. But this one had a good design to it. It was a little bit whitewashed, but that's kind of the design nowadays for a lot of homes. A bigger size kitchen and eating areas. Very, very sedate styling, I think, just to maintain probably the renters. But its little deal is that it was right next to this thing, which was like a clubhouse. So it didn't have its own pool, but you go very close and you have this little clubhouse, and they had indoor pickleball, tennis, and some other things. But I don't know, I'm kind of on the edge. I think for $2 million I should have my own pool, but there we go. But that was something to do, so that's why I was up higher than the previous house. This next house, it was, as you can tell, it's just kind of a generic cookie cutter of the ones around it. It's just mass produced for the rental area. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just kind of very plain builder grade to it. It did have a pool table, and it has a pool, but no hot tub. Well, no, there's one in the corner. There is a hot tub, correction. The only thing, it was right across from the Wright brothers on Kitty Hawk, where they had the Wright brothers first had their flights. There's like a memorial area, so that's kind of cool. But this is more very public, so there's stuff to do and there's stores, and that part's nice. But then you're kind of surrounded by a bunch of hotels on this one. And so while you had amenities, you also had a whole lot of other people. So I was kind of hoping for something a little bit more private. So moving on, this one, I like the house, but it kind of looks like the Norman Bates house a little bit, and that's just weathered cedar, so that's nothing big, but the gray appearance, until you get used to it, it's a little crazy. So this is in Hatteras, so this is way down this little strip in the middle of like nowhere. So like to get back to where the 264 is, it's about 2.5 hours. So you have to really like being down there, and there's a little bit in this island, but not a whole lot. And if you want the isolation, this would be great. It has lots of the covered porches, which were a good feature. The open ceilings, the high vaulted ceilings, Open ceiling would allow for flooding into your room. A pool table, and it's got a hot tub, and it's got a not too big pool, but not too small, and areas to eat, and a good view of the ocean. So it's all there. It looks freaking huge, from the outside. So compared to some of these other ones, you say $2 million, or it's not even $2 million. So you get good money value for that. Moving on. This one just kind of doesn't look as nice. The vinyl siding, I don't know, and the beach looks really crowded. It is located way up here though, so it is a nice beach, but it's south of some of those other guys. So it's like the high point of where most people go. So there's a hot tub over here, and the pool is huge, and it's got a little like fence area. I mean, that won't stop somebody that really wants to get in, but it just kind of discourages people. So you have a little bit of privacy between you and the beach. So that's good, but still you have a view of it, and it was very plain, but a lot of light on the inside. They just went neutral again. Like I said, a lot of these are rented out, and so we would be living there, not renting there. So it was okay, not great. This one, I kind of like the blue on it, and it offset very nicely. It is located kind of in between here, so really again on this little sliver of you gotta hope there's no high water, but there's some groceries on here, so it's not too bad. But if you really want the privacy, they didn't do much with the front here, so you could almost have a basketball court or do something with that. It's kind of crying out. It's got a pool and a hot tub. I kind of step up to the hot tub, so it's kind of nice. I don't think it's totally covered. No, so it's not totally covered, but you have easy enough access to get over to the beach. The inside is pretty nice. It's kind of just again muted tones, or just all playing it safe to appeal to renters. So a nice all-around house. This one is located way out here. Again, it's like if you want your privacy, here's one of your places. So it's yours. The weather, for some reason, this weathered cedar doesn't look as dreary as the other one. But it's got all these different layers. I guess the only thing, they didn't list an elevator in this one, and so with all the different floors, that might be a concern getting up and down the stairs if you had older visitors, or if you yourself was older. But I kind of like the inside of this best. It had the vaulted ceilings. It had a pool table and a foosball table, and a big seating area. I like the spiral staircase. So it was more of a showcase house, I guess you could say, than some of the other ones. The other ones, they kind of put in the bare minimum just to get a return on investment. This one looks like they put a little bit more into it, so I like that part of it. So moving on, this one again is your weathered cedar, which I don't know why it didn't bother me as much of those. So this one is also in Nag's Head, but it's a little bit further south of the Wright brothers, and so it's close to things like you got a hardware store right there and a miniature golf course, but not as many of the hotels and stuff. And there's a YMCA there, so in the winter you have a place to exercise, I guess. And the Nags Head Elementary School, go Nags. And there's also a pier. Let me see if I can pop that up here. So a pier over here. So there's just a little bit more kind of, you have more of the amenities, but not as many people, even though it's just, a few miles south of one of the earlier ones. And it's got a smallish pool, but a good view of the water. They did a little bit more with the flooring here, and so I like that. It just feels a little nicer to me. And upstairs and in the room, so they put a little bit more effort into it. They kind of added some color inside and out, so it just has a better feel overall, and it has a covered hot tub, so if it's raining or something, there's that. Moving on, so this was on Emerald Islands, and this was close. It was because that's supposed to be a very nice beach. So this is in you're kind of close to Jacksonville, North Carolina, but there's not a whole lot to do there. But this beach is supposed to be very nice. And this one is also close to, like really close to a long pier. So that's why it has a picture of it right there. So you can see it from your house. But the inside was a little, so again, they put in a little bit more work than some of the other ones. And I like the fact that it's got the pool, but the glass, so you can see out into the water at night. And so that was a nice touch. It's more than what they had to do. And it had walks out into the beach, so you can kind of sort of have privacy, but still have your beach access. And an air hockey table, foosball table, And this, I would only take the house if they threw in the fax machine, so that's very important. And the art choices are awesome. So there you go, but they have to throw in the fax machine or the deal's off. So the number one house, which is slightly underwhelming, but you'll see. So it's up high. And in a way, I kind of like that because it's kind of preparing for if they had high water, then you're taken care of. You're not having to constantly redo your house in case it got hit. So I like the preparation for that. And they say that it has an elevator, which is really handy in case you have older people or you're carrying a bunch of stuff up and down stairs. So I like that quite a bit. Now, the only downside is this one. So this one is on the south side of North Carolina. So, but it's close to Wilmington. It's like 45 minutes away from Wilmington. And Wilmington is a bigger city. So it's got some different arts and culture and things going on. So there's actually things to do. And also, this one is close to a golf club. And then up here, there's some more golf courses somewhere. Maybe not. It's going to make me a liar. So there's some more golf courses nearby. And it is an hour and a half to Myrtle Beach. So if you wanted to try a different beach, you just drive on down there. So this kind of benefits from location. The only slight downside to it is it's not itself directly on the beach, but you just walk and go out to the beach. So I mean, none of these, it's not your own private beach, but it's definitely walking distance to get there. So that's all right. I think that was close enough, but it's kind of built for having multiple families. It's 8 bedrooms, 8 baths. It's got this huge wraparound porch, which I really cared for. The interiors, not too big, but I really like the kitchen because here's the deal. They doubled up on everything. They have 2 microwaves, 2 stoves, 2 fridges, 2 dishwashers. So you could have a big island. So you could have 2 families, they have 2 separate sinks. So you could have, either one big meal going, or families could come in at different times and cook different things. Different tables. So it's a set up for a big family situation. And I think at least 3, if not 4 of them are like master bedroom suites with their own baths. So that's kind of nice. And there's little areas like here, so you could have, privacy between the different groups. So you could have like one family on one level and another family on a different level. And this was a nice combo, and with the elevator going back and forth, and it has a hot tub covered and kind of tucked away. So that, I think, was close enough to the beach, and I think that's acceptable. You can see it just fine. And I think that was a great solution. So beach party, I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe one back I'll go and look at the other North Carolina homes, but the deal is, you could have one of these fancy homes and be in a $2 million home in Greenville, but they're going to ask, can we go see the beach? So why not just get a beach house? So there you go. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, and last blast of summer.